Greetings! I present the Rekin Systems 3D production module. Trigger Media. Today I'll show you an interface of a trigger function. There are two types of triggers in the application, a simple one that allows full screen media display and an advanced one. The advanced mode has been prepared to allow you to program in an easy way a list of functions available in the application. After pressing a single button, the application performs one function after another. This episode will be dedicated to advanced triggers concerning the use of media. To start with, I will choose a studio shot on which we will display a file from Media 1 tray. This specific tray is set in the source mixer D. The Rekin logo file has been loaded into the input buffer and is playing in a loop. I open Menu, Options and Configuration. A configuration window opens with 10 trigger buttons. I choose the first one, F1. And from a list on the right I choose Advanced Option. An empty list appears to which we can add the application's functions one by one. An Add button is located above the list. I choose Media, Play from a list. The function starts playback of the selected file in the tray. From the available list I choose Media 1 tray, a currently selected file from the input buffer. I will stop the playback for a moment. I execute the trigger with F1 key. In an instant, the selected file in the Media 1 tray starts playing. I will add another trigger function now. From the list on the right, I choose Advanced Mode. The Add button is located above the list. I choose Media, Pause from a list. This function stops on a video frame a file currently playing in the selected tray. I choose Media 1. If we press F2 key, the currently playing file in Media 1 tray will stop in this very moment. If we press F1, the file will continue playing. By using these two keys F1 and F2, we can stop and continue playing Media 1 at any time. Now I will add another trigger function for F3 key. It will also be an advanced trigger. I add Media Stop function. The function stops files playback in the selected tray and sets a cursor to the first video frame's position. I will now press F3 key. The playback of a file in Media 1 tray will stop, which will be indicated with a cursor positioned at the beginning. It should be noted that we can set mark in and mark out markers for the video files. After setting the markers and pressing F1 key, the file will start playing from mark in. F3 key for Media Stop function will set a progress cursor on the mark in marker. I will add the next trigger function now. In the advanced mode, I add Media Select function to F4 key. On the right we can find parameters of the function's settings. We choose a tray and one of the 5 tabs located on the right, let's say the second one. Below we can see a parameter to indicate a path to a file on the disk. A 3-dot button opens an empty window of the tray. We double-click on the empty space. I point to a new file on the disk. And I select the chosen file and confirm by pressing Select button. The file path is set. In the production module, I will press F4 key that calls upon the trigger. As I had set the second tab as a parameter, there was an automatic switch to the one I had selected. The chosen file was selected and the playback of the new file started immediately. In this way, we can not only choose but also start playing files in each tab of the tray. I will create another trigger F5 with Media Select function. I choose a different tab, the third this time. I set a path to the next file in the tray. Now I have a complete set of triggers to make use of media tray. Stopping, media stop, and media pause. Starting playback, media play. Selecting a file from a tab and its automatic playback, media select. Media select function is independent of one of the options selection in the general configuration. That is of play media after selection through double-click function. Using a trigger with media select function always starts playback from the beginning, regardless of whether the option is enabled or not. I will now add the next trigger function to F6 key. I open menu Options and Configuration. I choose the Advanced mode. I choose Media Loop Play from a list. As a parameter, I select Media 1 tray. Below, we have an option to enable or disable looping. For instance, I will disable looping for F6 key, leave the option unchecked. I will check the option for F7 key, which will enable looping. I set mark in and out markers for the available file to demonstrate the looping. With the use of two keys F6 and F7, we can turn a loop button on and off at any time. When we turn it off, the file will stop at its mark out marker. If I enable loop by pressing F7, we will return to looping play. I will now add another trigger function to F8 key. As before, I choose the Advanced mode. With Add button, I will complete the list with Media Autoplay function. F8 key enables autoplay function for Media 1 tray. F9 disables this function. I leave autoplay option unchecked. When the autoplay option is enabled in a given tray, in the moment a media file appears on the program screen on the ER for the first time, it will start playing from the beginning. Let's stop the selected file for a moment. On the source mixer, we do not select Media 1 tray. I will use F8 trigger key, which will enable autoplay function. I reselect Media 1 input buffer with the source mixer. The file appears on the program screen on the ER for the first time, so the file starts playing from the beginning. We turn autoplay function off with F9 trigger. Below the tray, the option will uncheck. When the media file appears on the program screen on the ER, its playback from the beginning will not start. All the functions described above can be combined with each other, creating a bank of useful shortcuts. I will create such a set for F10 key. First, I add Media Select function, with which I select a new file to be later used as a source on the selected studio's monitor. It will be Media 1 tray. I choose the first tab. I select a file already loaded in this tab. Now I add General Delay. We delay the next function for 4 seconds. The next on the list will be again Media Select function. I point to the second tab. I choose a file which is already in the tray. Again, we delay the next function for 4 seconds. As a following function, I add Media Pause to stop a file on a single video frame. We have to choose the same tray. We delay the consecutive function for 3 seconds. At the end, we continue the playback with Media Play function. Calling upon such trigger will result in selecting a new file from the first tab and playing it. The playback will last for 4 seconds. A second file will be chosen from the second tab. Its playback will last for 4 seconds. After this time, we will stop the video file on a video frame. This single video frame will be displayed in the studio for 3 seconds. Then we will start the file's playback up until its end. Let's see how it looks in practice. I press F10 key. In this way, I have composed a simple set of functions performed one after the other. With a single key, I could display individual video files on the studio screen. I have also programmed a suitable time for displaying the desired video content. Thank you.
Wrecking. Keen on record.